One.
No, please talk. Yeah.
Please talk, is a monkey.
Okay.
We
Sure,
are
whatever his name
live.
is.
He's
Back with you guys. Man, I don't know what was going on with the sound and the. I don't know what was
It's only
going
three
on.
of us here, and we already got it.
That's sometimes, man. Sometimes.
Well, was it fixed towards the end, or was it just at the beginning?
It was fixed toward the end.
Bullshit. I'm not gonna sit here.
God, man, I try to like foolproof everything, and I don't know. This whole new setup's got me all over the place.
Fuck off. He doesn't fucking need this shit.
All right, guys, we're back in full effect. It's your man Sneed Mobile Tech, and Pete is in the house. He's joining me here in the podcast. What I wanted to say, Pete, just to kind of like connect the two podcasts together, we're calling this one the After Party. Obviously had Tom Spark on there.
You didn't ask about AT&T.
Dude, he was not a fan of AT&T, it looks like. It looked to me like he was a little bit more concerned about the service. He said it didn't really work in his apartment.
They're wasting my perfect rolls.
What do you?
I know, right?
What's your take on VPNs, man?
We call him speed bump.
They're good for what they're useful for. I use VPNs to remotely connect into my university. 2 universities actually.
I dig it.
I use VPNs to bypass data throttle from Verizon.
I've never had to bypass data throttle from T-Mobile.
Well, so like I get 720p video resolution.
Yep, you were saying that.
It was originally 1080p. You know, when they first brought back unlimited data to Verizon back in 2017, and then they switched it to 720p, and I was pretty upset about it. The best thing that I could do to respond was to bypass that data throttle. So they were giving me like 3.7 to 4.5 megabits per second for video. And by using a VPN, that gets lifted. It bypasses the throttle. Now I'm doing quad HD or whatever else my device can do.
That's because I don't know what video is.
Exactly. So when if I was to tell people out there, our viewers or subscribers, why a VPN is useful, it's something like that, right? Like you could bypass the data throttle and you could get faster speeds to do better video resolution.
Exactly.
Let's check in and see who made it to the after party. We got Jarrett. Glad you could be here. Michael Frasca's looking for a link. Anybody know what he's talking about?
To this.
Delaney is here. Glad you could make it. Rafi, good to have you, my friend. Salute. What else we got here? We got Troy is in the house.
He missed the first one. Sorry, Troy.
Troy, just catch it on the DVR, man. We got Paul is here. The M-Dub is in full effect. Willie Watson is here. Oh, Mike. Oh, yeah.
Got Cameron from Utah.
Let me see something.
Timothy Bull, welcome back.
Let me see if I can get Michael up in here. I don't know if I can.
Last one is it, and you can still see that. Oh, actually, yeah,
Rafi, Mr. Perez, like Cartoon Network and TNT and actually most cable channels are in 720p. There are some local PBS channels that only do 220p.
I think my video is going to cut for a second, guys, but I'm still with you. I'm still going to have audio and stuff. Did my video cut, Pete?
Yep.
Okay, no problem. My audio is still there. I'm still following. I'm gonna try to get a hold of Michael Frask. I'm gonna try to get him up in here.
So thank you for the bones, Willie Watson. But yeah, Perez. A lot of broadcast TV is not in 720, is only in 720p for HD. Discovery Channel typically in 720p. I was so happy when the BBC America started doing 1080p.
Next door TV for White Mage. There you go. Well, that's all pet. Yeah.
I'm still working on it, Pete. We're trying to get Michael in here.
Yeah, so White Mage, like what? But half
Take
those
your
jobs,
time, man.
almost all those jobs that says don't even have a pet.
In case you sub somewhere.
Summoner, I guess, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, except your summoner pet isn't useful at all.
Michael, if you're still out there, you're gonna have to Skype me over your Gmail address so I can get you invited to the hangout.
It's good for a read. That's about it.
I guess I could still read the what's going on in the live chat, I guess.
Yep.
So let's see what's going on here.
Sorry about the background noise. Is that better?
That's all right.
Timothy, upgrading to 4K is worth it depending on the 4K Blu-rays you have access to. I get defaulted to 480p, but they've never given me an issue with going up to 1080p. I've been told several times by the store they just count against my data, so I may hit the deprioritization limit.
All right, I'm back, guys. I tried to get a hold of Michael. I don't know. We'll see if we can get him on. Michael, if you're still out there, I just Skype me over your Gmail address or your so we can get you on this hangout call.
Yes.
All right. Anyways, I'm back, guys. I'm with you. Let's see what's going on in the live.
No.
I'm just loading it up here. What were you guys talking about, Pete?
Talking about 4K TV and if it's worth it and what you get and how broadcast cable doesn't really do 1080p even.
Most of the live sports will be 1080p. Most
They
of the
do.
older shows won't be.
They do push 1080p for sports. I get the World Cups in 4K. I can get the Olympics in 4K. But yeah, a lot of content is still in 720p.
You don't stand behind that. Hit it from the side. Oh, he could have stepped.
Michael says he got me the
Do it. Stand behind. Stand on the
thing
side
there.
of it.
Oh, there it is. Okay.
In front of him.
1 second, guys. My video's gone again, but I'm with you. I'm still here.
Yeah, DVD quality all the way.
There, keep going with that thing.
I think that game
No, the 10 gig hotspot was a legacy plan. They upgraded the legacy plan to unlimited.
All right, Pete, are we still in here?
Yep. Jarrett, wait till I test that. I'm told you can go higher than 480p. It will just decide to give you 480p at the beginning. But wait, they have a new promo for that? I might just change.
Pete, am I getting audio still?
Yep.
All right, so we're good. All right, I just sent the invite to Michael. Let's see if we can get him on here. Hopefully we
Are
do.
we in? We in this?
Oh, snap.
Hey,
Michael
Michael.
Frasca in the house.
Let's get it. What's going on? Everybody?
All right, we got it. We got the trifecta.
Hold on one sec. I'm just gonna pull up the live stream on my end. Is my audio okay? Everything good?
You're solid, man.
All right. Sorry to do this to you last minute, brother. I didn't want to, impose it, but I feel like we gonna talk tech. You gotta get the realest guy in here. I'm just messing, man. I'm just messing.
It's good to have you on, Mike.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you taking the time to add me in.
Sure. And we got Pete in the house. All right, I'm going to get
Hey,
the
what's going
live
on,
chat
Oscar?
up
How
and
you
running
doing?
here, too. All right, so we got the VPN stuff out of the way, right? We talked VPNs, and we know they're important and privacy and all that, but everybody is asking about what's going on with the merger. I actually, since Pete's been on, Pete, did you follow anything today?
Yeah. Hawaii and 3 other states joined the suit. Court cases starting October 7th.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
However, if it's approved and they start building out, what can they do?
you know what? We're going to get to that, man. I got a whole list of things that I want to cover with everybody, and you guys will be able to kind of chime in. And I don't know. I'd like to hear a little bit of what Michael has to say because, Pete, you know where we kind of stand on the same side. Michael's a new voice to the channel.
Welcome, Michael.
Yeah. So
Thank you,
what I want Michael to do is he's got his own ideas. He's got a way of delivering it, and I think you guys are gonna like it. So I'm gonna you know what, Michael, you go ahead and you start, man. Where are you at with the T-Mobile and Sprint merger, man?
Oh man, you put me on the spot there. I wasn't ready for that. All right. Well, here's where I stand so far. I'm still for the merger. The only thing is that I speak not as I guess you could say as a numbers guy. I speak as an average consumer, and that's kind of the whole stance. Is I speak for the average consumer, the average income person that makes a minimum wage and that makes works a regular job. That's really where I stand. So for me, I think that this merger, I've said it many times, I think it's going to be a benefit. In terms of what I saw today, I've already told you, I messaged you and stuff. To me, I feel like at this point, it's just trying to stop the merger. And they're really, okay, it says so they can't hear me. Hold on a sec.
I can hear you pretty good.
No,
I can hear Michael.
no, they were saying in the live chat. Let me know if this fixes
Oh.
it. But I think for me, I feel like this is just a trying to stop the merger and these other states that have been added in. I mean, I know that they're Democratic states, and I know that the whole primary is just to kind of make a case. And to me, I really just I feel like this is just it's just not worth the time to fight. I'm sorry, but as an average consumer, I mean, if this merger goes together and works, I think you're going to end up with a good bargain for your dollar. I don't think it's going to make much more money. I mean, yeah, they'll raise their prices, but it's not going to happen right away. They originally agreed to not raise the price, so I don't know where they're getting this idea that they're going to raise it to the roof. Look, if you want to talk raising the roof, look at Apple. They price their stuff by $100 every year. Everybody flips about that. So why would T-Mobile do that? So
Yeah,
for me, it's like if T-Mobile really wanted to raise their price, they could have done it by now. What's stopping them? But the fact that they haven't done it, they listen to their customers. I don't see no problem with it. That's just me.
So we got a super chat, Justin Hersey. Thank you very much, man. Thanks for the donation. What I want to kind of add to what you were saying, Michael. So, like when I think about pricing, the last company that comes to mind when it comes to unfair pricing is going to be T-Mobile. With unfair pricing, I think of AT&T with all their fees and bumping their fees and adding new fees. When I think of expensive and premium, I think of Verizon. When I think of T-Mobile, I think of a company that holds off as much as they can before they raise pricing. So I looked at all the price hikes from Netflix. T-Mobile waited as long as they could. They held out as long as they could before they bumped, the pricing of Netflix on us a little bit.
Only on Magenta.
Right.
The
So if you have the plus,
is $2 less technically.
That's the key thing, technically. But allow me to retort. Keyword in what you said was wait. That's the key. So it's not that they choose to raise the price; they have to wait. Now look at the Netflix situation. Let's talk about that for just 1 second. Netflix has been raising their price every year, I would say. And notice how T-Mobile never increased, even with the premium. You did have to pay $2 extra. They never increased it. It wasn't until recently they decided. And keyword is what you said. They waited. And to me, that's the reason. If you're going to wait, at least keep them at a good price. But they let them know. It's not like, oh, we're going to do it out of the blue. They told everybody. They were like, yeah, man, Netflix is a little too high. So if you're okay with it, we're going to have to raise the price. They didn't just do it behind the scenes like, oh yeah, you know something. Well, we're gonna raise the price, but we're not gonna tell you guys. Nah, they at least let the people know. So you gotta remember that they at least made some kind of announcement, formal announcement.
okay. So Michael, if you could please turn up your mic if you can, or get it closer to you. Oscar Frederico, thank you very much for the super chat, man. Appreciate the donation. The other thing to mention, like you think about like the Netflix situation, they raised the price 2-3 times before T-Mobile finally had to do something about it. They held out as long as they could. And I think even moving forward with the merger, they've offered their price lock guarantee for a few years. Eventually 5G is going to require investment, and that's going to have to be built into the pricing. The pricing is going to go up regardless. It's going to go up because of 5G. It's not going to go up because of a merger. So
exactly, yeah.
So what I'm kind of getting at here is, for people that are into this whole like antitrust and pricing for consumers, T-Mobile is not characteristically a company that raises pricing. T-Mobile's also offered, this notion of keeping the price locked for a certain amount of time, like as long as they can. It's the T-Mobile way, so I'm comfortable with that. In the live chat, Frankie says 4 more states joined the lawsuits to stop the T-Mobile and Sprint deal. The more the merrier. So Frankie's a well-known anti-merger guy. What I actually want to do, guys, really quick, just to kind of rehash in case not everybody knows about it. I just want to recap everything that we learned today. All right. So, and then Pete, I'll let you jump in. Michael, you can do your thing. So the T-Mobile and Sprint merger news for today. Pre-trial came and went. It was today. T-Mobile and Sprint lawyers were present. State attorney generals were there. They have set up first day of trial for October 7th. Pete, you gave us that date.
Yep.
I've heard the description of the pre-trial as being weird and a little bit unorthodox. It was strange to say the least. It appears that Dish also is kind of lollygagging at this point. There's a potential Verizon buyout happening here where they would be basically just purchasing Dish so they could have the low band and the mid band spectrum. So if Dish is going to become the 4th carrier, they obviously want boost. They want spectrum assets. They're going to want to be able to build out a 5G network and compete. Now, just keep in mind that Dish, before all of this came up, whether it's as the 4th carrier or a buyout from Verizon, Dish was looking to make an IoT 5G network that was going to cost them about $10 billion to build.
Jesus.
They have until March 20th, or excuse me, March of 2020 to build out something with all the spectrum they've been hoarding. So you've got that going on. So because of that, because of Dish lollygagging, T-Mobile is potentially looking for other bidders and buyers of Boost, and the DOJ appears to be in no rush. That's interesting in and of itself. Why is the DOJ not in a rush? And I here's my take. The DOJ is not in a rush simply because they know that the states don't scare them. I think it's pretty clear that Makin Del Rahim is unfazed by the original 10 states and the new 4 states, which, by the way, Minnesota, Nevada, Massachusetts, and Hawaii are the 4 new states added to the pre-existing 10. Here's what's funny about Hawaii. 2 weeks ago, I reported on my channel, the Hawaii State Utility Commission approved the merger. Now we have an attorney general saying, wait a minute, I'm joining on the bandwagon. Add me to the Democratic list of people that oppose the merger. Minnesota, Nevada, Massachusetts, I get it. Okay, so political parties, all of that. Okay, so Go ahead, Pete. Any of that. Go ahead.
I think it's just a hullabaloo.
What the hell is a hullabaloo?
It's a situation that blown completely out of proportion. We we have the DOJ approving what was it Fox and Disney and
Right.
AT&T and
Time Warner.
Time Warner and all these mega mergers that were horrible ideas. Why is it that we're like jumping down the throats of these two companies where that are trying to make it a 3-carrier country, not a 2.5?
Now, Pete, hold on a second. Explain what 2.5 means.
So international pricing for mobile data. The U.S. is really expensive for 4-carrier markets. It's about where you'd expect a 3-carrier market, but it's at the low end, and it's really competitive for 2 carriers. So
AT&T and Verizon are your two.
Yeah, AT&T, Verizon are your two, and then we, have T-Mobile, which is kind of a third. They come up with a promotion that's groundbreaking and like unlimited data again.
Right.
AT&T used to do unlimited data. They cut it back. It wasn't making enough money. T-Mobile does unlimited data. The Bell sisters start doing it. Most likely the only reason the Bell sisters started doing unlimited data was they'd lose all their customers to T-Mobile in the markets where T-Mobile has service.
So it's frustrating right now. Michael, we've got an October 7th court date. We have the pretrial that came in with today. What are your impressions about those types of things, talking about the 4 new states that have been added, the court date for the 7th? It seems like the court proceedings are all a technicality. From what I hear, that court date on October 7th, it's believed that it's only going to go for about 2 to 3 weeks. And the lawyers from the T-Mobile side are pretty confident that this case is going to be thrown out.
Well, I will say, I expected the 4 states to come in. It was expected at this point. You knew there were going to be people jumping on the bandwagon. There's no secret. But I want to address the question you asked Pete, your thoughts on, and I agree with what you said. They're in no rush because they know they'll make a deal. They know they're going to make a deal. And let's be honest here, T-Mobile's been cooperating, so has Sprint. So as long as they're following orders, they're trying to concede, give assets, they don't have anything to worry about because they know as soon as they approve the merger, the case goes down and it becomes much harder to find some ground. So for me, I'm with you. There's no rush because they know they'll make a deal.
Yeah. And Frankie in the chat says, let's not forget Sprint has always had unlimited data and kept it. But the network is so behind in the times in terms of national coverage. I mean, Pete, would you consider Sprint to be a national carrier at this point?
No. Sorry, Pete.
Only if you include their roaming agreements.
So their native network is incomplete.
Yeah.
If I could jump in,
yeah, go ahead.
For the international, I have used T-Mobile, so I can say I've traveled all over Europe. I went to Italy, went to Russia, I went to Africa, I went to China even, Asia, part of Asia, and I can safely say that using T-Mobile with the partnership they have with the antennas and the providers out there, it's been a miracle. And that's with promotion they gave, a T-Mobile One Plus, I believe. So I remember Pete was saying something like that. So I can't say they can compete because even though the speeds are, well, I won't lie, they are really slow. They at least get the text to go through so I can text my friends. Calls are what you expect, 20 cents a minute. And to be honest,
don't you get free Wi-Fi calling though?
It depends. On airplanes, if you're traveling internationally, yeah, they'll give you free Wi-Fi, and it also depends on the country. So, in Italy, I did get free Wi-Fi when we were in Sicily and in Calabria.
You get free Wi-Fi in most of Spain.
I've never been to Spain, so well, I've never stayed there to try it, but I've only been to Barcelona. But if I was to go back, I'll definitely try it again. I'll see that. But for the most part, free Wi-Fi calling, I mean, it works. Depends on the state.
Yes,
And
it is
depends
free
on the
Wi-Fi
device too.
calling back to the U.S.
It is. I've actually been able to call. Believe it or not, I called my brother, called my sister. I even called a couple of my aunts and uncles. So it works. There's no joke there. They just need to work on the speeds because even though there is LTE, it's not like what USA LTE. It's a different style. It's not as fast, but I can still watch YouTube, Netflix, and I don't even get charged extra. That's the best part.
What's also interesting about internationally, what they call 3G is actually almost as fast as our LTE.
Mhm.
Like in certain parts of the world where it's connecting to 3G, you're getting like 10 to 15 megabits per second. I had no idea that 3G could do that. Pete, I don't know if you have any experience with international markets and network performance, but I was impressed by that.
Not firsthand, but that does make sense since most of the standards do take place are like better adopted in Europe. In the U.S., we don't really have the most verbose track record with getting things up and running internationally or compared to the international level.
I also feel internationally they don't abandon or move on to new technology until they optimize and maximize like the one that they currently have. So we were quick to go from 3G to LTE without maximizing 3G.
I
then-
remember when my phone started getting 3G internet, and like 2-3 years later, 4G.
It honestly feels like the Stone Age. It feels like the Stone Age when you talk about it. Because I remember it was like, what was it, like almost like 13 years ago? I don't know. The first iPhone, it was on 2G. Then you get the iPhone 3G, the 3GS.
Yeah.
It's like, it feels like the Stone Age when you think about it.
Yeah, like I remember, it was what the Droid X was
Droid
like
X.
it was the last droid that wasn't 4G, I think. When they were then they moved to 4G, then it was, the naming was LTE and battery life was awful, but connection speeds were fast.
That is that, I could relate. Because when I had the
Yeah.
iPhone 5, that was my first iPhone. I think that was one of the first iPhones to do the LTE. I think the 4S was there, but the 5 was a big for T-Mobile. That was the first T-Mobile iPhone, I believe they were allowed to get. Something
I
like
think it was
that.
after the 4S, wasn't it, Pete?
Yeah, it was after the 4S.
Yeah.
And I remember
Yep.
when the LTE signal was starting out on my phone, because I lived in Brooklyn. It was really it was strong compared to what my uncle had on AT&T. And you gotta remember, this was in around probably I'm gonna say 2013. So in a matter of just 1 year, by 2014, the speeds had started to pick up, and I noticed it when iOS 7 came out because Apple did that whole refresh. But it also optimized the carrier for the iPhone 5 with the modems that they had back then. So it definitely changed a lot.
You know what I want to do? I mean, we can come back to the merger, no problem. But since you are like a special guest and you just kind of popped in, Michael, first of all, I want you to go ahead and plug your channel and then tell everybody out there kind of what it is that you cover in terms of topics and kind of your approach in creating videos.
You don't got to make me do that, man. This is your channel. I'm not here
Are
to
you-
take subscribers. I'm not here to take
No, it's not about taking subscribers. I like what I do when I bring on guests is I want you to understand when you're coming on here, and this is an invitation for people to get to know you. It's not about taking subscribers or anything. So I've already put posts for you in my community polls
Thank you,
or my community posts. So some people may know who you are, but there may be some that don't. So just tell them your name, tell them about your YouTube channel. Go ahead, man.
All right, well, let's do it. Let's break it down like first grade. Hello, my name is Michael Frasco. All right, but for real, guys, it's Michael. I'm a tech YouTuber. I talk all about tech. I'm in college currently. I'm a major in computer science and engineering. I've been studying computers since I was 7, when my uncle brought home the MacBook Pro. From that point forward, I just got into tech. I took apart my first computer when I was 10, and from that point forward, I just got hooked on it, and I just wanted to learn more. As the years went on, I was given opportunities, and I finally decided, you know what, let me do YouTube. So I've actually had a previous YouTube channel, but it didn't work out so well. So I kind of did a refresh, and I started out as a gaming, but I noticed a lot of people were saying, you know a lot about CPUs, you know about internals, like I was talking about PS4 and stuff. So they said, why don't you talk about tech? I was like, all right. So I gave it a shot, and a lot of people liked it. So now I do tech. And what I do is I try to talk to the average consumer, and I basically try to give the news, the latest news, while keeping it 100% real, taking biasy out, and at least being straightforward with you guys. And I'm not holding back anything.
So what's on your mind right now in the tech world?
It is a dumpster fire. That's what's on my mind. It's bad because, look, we're living in an age where everybody's picking sides about which iPhone or Android is better with iOS. And to me, it's like, it's ridiculous to waste your time on fighting over an operating system. Look, I'm not going to sit here and be like Apple's 100%, but at the same time, Android ain't no bargain either. They take your data just like everybody else, but we all know their track record. But Apple ain't no bargain either. They have a problem with pricing. But look, all I feel is like whatever you use, and if you like it, just enjoy it. There's no need to go and bash another person. Like, Android users have a tendency to bash iOS users because iOS is always behind on stuff. But there's usually a reason why they're behind. It's because they want to perfect it. Now, I'm not saying that's a good excuse, but look, that's just how Apple rolls. And people like it like that. Some people like simplicity over open-ended. And if that's who you are, I don't think there should be any disagreement. If you like iOS, you like iOS. If you like Android, you like Android. There should be no bashing and calling names. And I don't think it's fair to both ends, because Android users are making themselves look bad, and iOS users are making themselves look stupid for defending things like dark mode. Dark mode's been out for 4 years now. Come on now, don't defend that.
I will say that I think Apple, I think their iPads are good. The iPad Pro especially. It's very expensive, but I think it's a good device. I think their iMacs are good, but they're also very expensive.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the iPhones are a little bit behind in the tech.
Absolutely.
Outside of the facial recognition, which appears to be a pretty good feature.
Mm-hmm.
People say it works, and like that's fine, but to say it works when they're charging over $1,000, I don't know. You're not buying an iPhone if you want value. I mean, you're not really buying an Apple product if you want
you
value.
need to understand. What you just said, value and stuff, Apple doesn't care.
No, they don't, man. You're
By
right.
the time you thought that thing out, they've already got your money. But I will say this. You can buy any Apple product and guarantee you it will last a year longer than a Windows computer. Well, okay, I can't say Windows computer. I've actually had Windows last a little longer than Macs. I take that back. Maybe the older ones will last longer, not the new ones. But an iPhone, I've had my iPhone 5 from the day I got it all the way to the 8. That's how long it lasts. So I can safely say, if you're paying, you're not paying for, like, if you're buying an Apple product, you're paying for the convenience, because everything is a big ecosystem. So it's just all one circle. It works hand in hand. But you're also paying for the name, because let's be real here. Apple products, when you hold an Apple product, you get that cool feeling. Like, remember back in the day, we were like, oh, yeah, man, I got the iPhone 4S. Oh, nah, hell nah, screw that. I got the iPhone 5, bigger screen. Like, you get that cool factor in there. So It also comes with a luxury tax. And I always tell everybody, avoid the Apple store. Do not buy your stuff from the Apple store. It's a ripoff, and you're not saving any money. So for me, look, I get it. They're overpriced. But when you buy it, it'll last you for a while. And you won't need to keep upgrading, because Apple makes their own software and they make their own hardware. Only CPUs.
You know, I think about your kind of like that whole, like, that monologue there about what you were saying about Apple. So, like, I actually have an ecosystem that I use, and it's Google.
Mm-hmm.
I use Google Hangouts. I use Hangouts on Air. I use a Google phone. I use all Google operating system software, Chrome browser. I use everything Google, and it's free. and I don't have to pay an Apple tax. And
Mm-hmm.
it's all integrated in there. I use Gmail, I use Drive. I don't feel like I'm missing out on anything.
That's fine. Hey, look, if you like it, that's all that matters. My
Right,
voice
but what
ain't
I'm
gonna
saying
matter.
is why people are making a stink about Apple having an ecosystem or whatnot. Like you said, it's a preference. Like there's more than one way to skin a cat. An old man from the South taught me that.
Well,
You
you
know
know
what I'm
why?
saying?
I'll tell you why. It's just because it's what people like, and it's simple. Because look, that $1,000, nobody's getting over that. But once you get it and you use it, it sort of becomes kind of like your daily drive. Like, look at me. I've been an iOS user. I've used Android. I'll be real with you. I love Android. But am I going to switch over right away? Not right away. It's going to take a little transition. But the thing is like once you get the hang of iOS and you use it, it just feels more convenient because why would I want to go over and try to learn a whole new thing that'll take me longer than when it took me for the iPhone? And I'm not trying to blow smoke. I'm not trying to defend Apple, but there was a poll done, and 73% of users in America today are preferring iPhones solely because of how simple iOS has become optimized. Not talking iOS 12. We're talking iOS 11, 10, 9. People haven't even updated from iOS 7. If you're on iOS 7, goodbye. Just don't talk. But the point is that people are preferring the simplicity and convenience. Now, I will say, if I had to talk about Android, they are by far the best. And I'll tell you why they're the best. Because it's open, you get to do what you want, and on top of that, there's no restrictions. But that restriction does come at a cost. No matter what you guys say, there is a cost in there, and that cost is potential. Pretty much your info, not saying Apple ain't no pleasure either. I'll tell you what I mean by that later. But your info, viruses, even if you have open source software, there's still no security. See, because it's open end, anybody can access it. So, case in point, it comes down to your preference.
Really
By the
quick,
way-
Miguel with a super chat. Thank you for the donation. Go ahead, Pete.
By the way, if you read the licensing for iOS, it is majority open source software.
Oh no, I know that, but Apple just doesn't want to do it because look, if they start sharing their stuff, where they could make money off the licensing, but what's the point in them owning another product versus theirs? So you got to think about it from a money standpoint. You can't think of it just be like, oh, it'd be nicer to give iOS. Yeah, that'd be the nice thing. Well, come on, this is Apple we're talking about. You act as if this is Google Android.
Well, I will say that the best operating tablet is the iPad.
Yeah.
In my opinion, the best smartphone is always probably the Galaxy Note.
No, absolutely.
In terms of like hardware, so like the build quality, the performance, the storage speed, like rewriting and writing data and all that, the camera quality, the video capture, the stylus pen, the display. I mean, pretty much every feature of a smartphone, the Note is always the best. But I always end up with a Google phone, man. Pete's a Google phone guy. I'm a Google phone guy. That's kind of where I'm at with it.
It's cool. You know what? It's cool because you know what? That's what you like, and that's cool with me. I'm
thinking about trying the Note, man. Are you looking at these Note 10 rumors, guys?
Are you kidding me? I'm on top of that stuff, bro.
Big shout out to Jamil for the super chat. Thanks, man. I appreciate it, Habibi.
I will say this about Samsung. I give them so much props. You guys have no idea. Like Samsung, in my opinion, is the best person to go to if you want to buy Android. You can say anything you want about Google Pixel, but Samsung, they worked hard and they were faced with a lot of setbacks. The Galaxy Fold not working out, the batteries exploding in the Note 7. They had a lot. And to come back from that exploding battery, I give them so much prop. And now the Galaxy Fold, while it didn't work out, I give them props for trying. That's the cost of coming at first. That's the cost. But I give props to Samsung. They tried their best, and they've got it perfect. The One UI, Galaxy Buds. I'm using the Galaxy Buds. I don't use AirPods. Galaxy Buds are better, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's a good piece of hardware. Tom says, Alcatel Go Flip for $75, the best phone. Come on, Tom. What you talking about,
He ain't
man?
wrong. My dad's using a flip phone.
M. Kelleher says iPhone is overrated. Dark Vader says Jamil facts. He's talking about Android for life. Thank you for the super chat, Jamil. Sebastian with the super chat. He said, where'd I go? Note line really good in features. Yeah, it's a very feature-rich device. Yeah, if you guys could, I see the mentions in the live chat. Go ahead and like the video. Let's get it out there in the algorithm of the YouTubes. Get some likes in there.
Somebody wrote, just want to address something. Somebody wrote, Apple security isn't that secure. Bella Thorne's iCloud was hacked. Yeah. So I'm not gonna defend them on that. That's really true. Like Apple really isn't that secure. We make an adjustment that Apple has security. That's not necessarily true. Like there have been times they got hacked. So to anybody out there that's brainwashed saying Apple is the most secure, kind of take a little look on the research because there have been times Apple's been hacked. They were hacked by like a 12-year-old, I think, at one point. So,
I do agree from a security side, Apple is not the most secure. They do seem to be more like, hey, use us. We are not going to sell your data to Google or something like that.
mm-hmm.
They're more privacy conscious than they are security conscious.
You know what, Pete? You know who says the word privacy like that? That's a British thing, man.
Yeah.
Call my aunt from England to see if we can use that down here.
Got a super chat from Jamal Matthews. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate the donation.
No, I'm just plugging in my tablet. My thing's gonna die.
No problem. Go ahead.
No, but he's right though, Pete. If I could say real fast, because I've studied in this stuff. I'm in the classes, so I mean, I'm not as knowledgeable as you, but you're right. From a privacy standpoint, they just want to make it look like, yeah, we're not going to sell your data. That's true. And on the other flip side, it's like, oh, if we get hacked, you'd be like, yeah, but we're still, you got your messages locked up. Like, look, they're trying. I won't lie. Apple really does care about your privacy, but it comes at a cost. I think personally, remember what I was saying, how Apple takes your data? I think they do, but they're just very good at hiding it. Like, that's the difference. It's like, we may be secretly seeing what you're doing, but we're going to make sure nobody else sees it. That's what
that's a good way to put it. Joe DeMarco says Apple security isn't that secure. He talks about the hack recently, so that's kind of in the news. Dark Vader says the Note 9 is really the best all-around phone. The Note 10 should be really awesome too.
Oh yeah. So quick update on the Note 10. I'm sorry to cut you off.
No, go ahead.
So there was a recent report. Actually, I was supposed to do this tonight on my video, but I'm gonna give you guys a scoop. So looking at the tempered glass on the Note 10, it's going to have a single punch hole in the center. So that's going to look a little weird at first, but it'll take some time to get to.
Are you talking about centered at the top?
Centered right in the dead center. So it won't be in the corner. It'll be right in the center. It's going to look a little weird, but it'll take some adjustment. But, however, there is a new piece of technology that they are bringing from China, the sound in display. So basically the sound is coming through the glass with the use of a vibrator speaker. It's kind of like a vibrator, but it projects the sound. Huawei did it, and a couple of others have done it. It's going to still have the dual sound. It may not be as crisp as, something like the iPhone or Google Pixel or Samsung Galaxy, but this is a new style that they're going for in order to achieve that earpiece that has been doing double duty all these years. So that's a new info. And on top of that, the Note 10 Pro, which is supposed to be their 5G, is rumored to be priced at around $1,600. So around the same price point as the 5G, and the Galaxy Fold last up is maybe coming back.
All right. Well, to be honest with you, a couple things to cover there. So the in-display speaker was actually done in a phone back in 2014. If anybody remembers the Sharp Aqueous phone.
See, that's why nobody remembers. That's why nobody
I remember that phone.
I remember that it had no bezel at the top. It had like a 1/2-inch bezel at the bottom.
Oh, wait, are you talking about? Oh!
Yeah, so it was kind of like the first semi-bezel-less phone. It only had one bezel at the bottom. So they had no earpiece location. So what they did was it was built into the display. It resonated and it made the sound out of vibrations coming out of the display. So the technology has been there. Now it looks like it's something that Samsung could take advantage of and charge $1,200 for, and then throw in 5G. And Pete, we're talking about $1,600, man.
Like, who do they think they are? Apple? Come on.
That's interesting. Like, when you think about so with my channel, it's more about wireless network technologies, and the 5G variant or a 5G model Galaxy Note is going to definitely cost at least $1,500-$1,600.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And
There's no-
I could see somebody potentially getting it and financing it, and that monthly payment being about $60 a month. Just for the phone. That's not even the service.
Tom,
So-
HTC and Xperia should make a comeback. Sony actually did come out with a new phone. It's actually not bad, but it's got some things. And HTC, I don't know when we'll see them back in the game. I really
Nah,
don't know.
man,
when we'll
they
see
can
them
go
back.
away. They can go away.
Yeah,
They're
HTC.
just
Like, I don't know. Like, their reputation with smartphones, I don't know. Like, they're. How do I say this? I've only used one HTC phone, and it was way back. And I remember the first day I used it, I thought it was a toy, and I just threw it in the toy bin. Like,
one of the best phones I ever owned was the HTC M7, the HTC One M7. It was right before the iPhone 6 came out, and the iPhone 6 was the best-selling iPhone ever. And this phone, the HTC One M7, was exactly what the iPhone 6 looks like, but the HTC One M7 was built first. That means iPhone 6 copied the HTC One M7.
you see, that's true.
So it was an amazing phone. It was awesome. It had Beats audio built in. It came with Beats headphones.
I
It was
remember
like it was incredible. I know it had like a Snapdragon 6 something series processor, but that phone was really, really nice, man. But ever since then, HTC hasn't really been able to sell any phones.
And
It's
ever
almost
since then-
like
you go.
it's almost like they forgot how to succeed and sell phones, and the game has passed them by. LG is kind of in that position. Really, right now, I'd say if there's any market for phones, it's either an iPhone, a Galaxy phone, and then to a lesser extent, probably you could say, I guess, the Google phones. But that's really it.
Yeah, and Frank, I was gonna say, even with Beats, they even took the nosedive down. Like, look at this. I was using the Studio 3s. Like, I'm gonna be real with you. Like, when Apple acquired Beats, we thought, like, I would say we thought that their intentions were to help license Beats, like you said, with HTC and their speakers to help. But all we saw that they did with Beats was take their music streaming quality, because Beats had a station and they were streaming music at a high rate. I think the highest back then was 300 and something. I forgot. It was in that range. But it was high for its time, and they just wanted it for their Apple Music streaming service, and they didn't care less about the headphones. And that's kind of the real thing with Apple. Is I was reading something also in the live chat. Sorry to do this, but Frankie said that Apple, he said here, the thing that ticks me off about Apple is their practice of innovation rather than I don't know what he's saying.
He said litigation rather than innovation, which means litigation is court proceedings, lawsuits, stuff like that. They want to sue everybody instead of innovating. It's the Apple way.
I wouldn't say that's necessarily true, but he does have a point, because there is an ongoing lawsuit between a local screen fixer versus Apple, because they're saying that he's taking the displays from Apple. But
Are you talking about Louis Rossmann?
No,
it's the supplier of Lewis. They intercepted them from
he
Germany.
testified. Yeah, see, Pete knows. He just
It pissed me off because I was using them.
Yeah, they and they don't make iPhone displays that you could buy. Like, you can't order 20 iPhone displays from Apple. They won't sell it to you.
Can't. Like, okay, let me say this.
I wish I could buy them.
Yeah, me too.
You know what it is? Apple does that on purpose. That's just what they do. Apple doesn't make it easy, because if they give away their stuff, they will literally be in so much hell, because then they'll be like, oh, but we're going to take money. That's why they have ASAP, Apple Service Providers, ASP. That's why they're the only ones they provide to.
Apple authorized service providers.
I don't even know what.
By the way, I worked with them and supported them.
We got a super chat real quick. Jamil says, "Last chance, move to Android or you're gonna get hacked." Go ahead, Pete.
And they had they complained to me, an Apple Care person, about the quotas they had and the fact that they have to buy the parts outright put them in the phone and then they get reimbursed. So you need a credit line to actually get the official parts.
Yeah, and not even that, Pete. Also, one guy told me that works for the Apple service. They're not paying for just one individual part. You're paying for the whole thing. So, like, let's say for a Mac, if you're gonna fix a CPU on the board, you can't buy that CPU separately from Apple.
No, you have to get the entire board.
You have to get the whole thing with the RAM, CPU, and you have to pay that charge. So even if you get what you need, it's still, you're not getting exactly what they wanted. They just want a new CPU. You gotta get the whole set. Like, to me, I don't know how that works out in a logical sense, but I mean, hey, it's a new. They figure maybe just not get the stress if maybe there's something else going on the board, but still, it makes absolutely no sense. You're going to fix one thing, but yet you have to pay for the whole thing.
I just buy the new CPUs and would just buy the new CPU and solder it back in if I was running a repair shop like that.
Well, you know what it is? The Apple services, they have a contract. I think you know this. If they break that contract,
I read it.
yeah, if they break the contract, Apple could really, like, not only take away their license, they could also file lawsuits and even tear down their business. So they make it impossible for these repairs to happen.
Yeah, Apple does not want you to repair your devices.
Exactly.
I'm probably sometime this weekend I'm going to be repairing a 5S with a broken lightning cable port.
Good luck. Well, actually, no.
It takes about half an hour.
Yeah, I was about to say, because the new one, I actually repaired an iPhone XS Max. The lightning port, they dug it underneath the motherboard, and oh my god, tri-pentalo scoops up the ass.
I know all about them, and I've been repairing iPhones for years, and charging ports are one of the more common repairs that are done. I mean, outside of displays and batteries, those are the most common too. But you know, you can't just do the port, because on the port are the antennas. On the port is the headphone jack.
Headphone, but not antennas.
No, well, there's antennas on the side.
Yes.
You have to be careful with those because they run up against the loudspeaker.
And they come out. Well, some of them come out, not all of them.
Yeah, so you just have to be careful and make sure you don't cut anything.
And you know what's so funny?
And it's for my mother-in-law.
Well, you're a good son-in-law. You're good dude.
She went to the Apple store, like, my phone's not charging. They're like, that'll cost you $600. Get a new phone.
What?
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, so they weren't willing to repair it.
And she's on fixed income, Social Security.
Yeah, she can't afford to spend $600. She probably wants to keep that thing until it completely just dies.
Wait a minute. So $600 to replace what?
No, she's gonna have to buy a new phone. They're not willing to replace the
thing. Wait. Wow, damn, Apple, that's cold.
Jamil says, "Hey Sneed, can you replace a cracked screen for a Pixel 3 AXL for me?" Sure, Jamil. Ship it to me.
Or me.
Yeah, or Pete. We could work something out, whatever the parts cost, and if you want to leave a donation for the channel, that would be fine. I don't really care.
That would cover the cost of the shipping, right there.
That's it. Yeah, just you pay the shipping, ship me the phone, ship me the display. Or if you want me to get the display, whatever, we can figure it out, man.
I'm actually working with somebody from the Discord doing that.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
with an iPod.
Oh, yeah, it's an iPod. What gen was that? Like the first gen? Fifth gen?
As video.
Oh, audio? Nice. For me, when I repair stuff, I do it in school. CSI, that's where I go. They have a laboratory, so basically it's a computer lab, and they basically just, if you have an issue and stuff, they'll have the parts and stuff, because the professor there is a certified technician, so he has the stuff for smartphones, computers, everything. Not just for Windows and Macs, but for Linux and other third-party operating systems out there.
Man, you're making me feel bad just working in a cybersecurity department under a fellowship.
Oh, you know what? Cybersecurity make more money.
Yeah.
I'd rather take the more money.
Pete's getting the buku bucks, man.
That's what I'm talking about.
So there was I actually
don't be
Discord
fooled by the button-down shirt, man.
Yeah.
I think I accidentally pointed out in Discord that I set up a link and it was worth $120.
Yeah, but you didn't even get it working yet, man.
Oh, check it. It does. Check it right now. Do it.
All right, man, I will.
No, look at your phone. Check right now.
Pete, I'm not on my phone, man.
I'm using
Yep.
my phone to check the live stream, see what anybody wants to comment. If anybody had any questions.
Let's see here. Somebody, DJ Gaten text says, I have the 5th gen. I'm stuck at iOS 9. I wonder if he's. What is he talking about? Is he talking about an iPad or an
It's got
iPod?
No, that's an iPod.
iPod 5th generation.
iPod Touch or
iPod
something?
Touch.
Okay.
Ooh.
Better than the iPod Touch Kids.
Yeah, everybody, yo, can we time out? All right, I just want to hear from you two, and everybody in the chat can vote. Who here thinks Apple should have discontinued the iPod Touch? And just say I or from you two. Which one agrees, disagrees?
All right. So who
They
thinks?
should have stopped with the Touch and went back to the classic. That actually is useful.
So not the Touch. You're talking about the one with the little turning knob thingy?
Yeah, I think I have.
Dude, a gig of music on a solid state drive.
This thing. So we go
No, not the Nano. Just, gig of music, solid state drive, good battery, just plays
all right.
good audio.
Shuffle.
I'm with Jaron. I don't care either, honestly. I stream my music now, man. I don't even.
Yeah, but here's the thing with the iPod Touch. It's not a product for me, you, and Pete. It's for a specific market. Apple knows the market better than we do. So if they're going to capitalize on that market, they're going to go after it. But the thing is that the iPod, that was the introductory product for probably a majority of us. Like, I would say millennials, because this was a time when smartphones were becoming bigger. There was a time at one point where the most expensive smartphone was pretty much, I guess you could say, just out of the hands for most people. Because back then, like $500, $600 was a lot. Now we look at today's standpoint, that's like nothing. But the iPod was kind of just like the iPhone without the cellular. But that was really what kids back in the day, for millennials, I can speak for, that's what got them into Apple. So for me, I'm not against it because, look, it has iOS. It's something that is easy for them to get into. It's probably for older people, but mainly for kids.
The iTouch is literally an iPhone without a mobile data chip and the phone app.
Gee, I wonder who just said
So
that.
the best way to do it is to get an old hand-me-down iPhone 6 and don't put a SIM card in it and just hand it to a kid to be connected to Wi-Fi.
iPod Touch.
But then again, like, even then, even the kid's going to go and be like, put the SIM card in. That's why you give him an iPod. There's no SIM card.
Yeah, I mean, you'd be tempted to want a SIM, but if the goal and the intention is to just connect to a Wi-Fi network and maybe get I don't know, what's the biggest storage on it? Like 128 gigs or something on the iPhone 6?
256.
On an iPhone 6?
No, I'm sorry. I'm talking about iPod. No, iPhone, I think it's 128. No,
Okay,
86,
so
I don't know.
that's kind of where I'd be at, is you'd have to find one with a good amount of storage so that way they can get some data on there.
Yeah, and generally speaking, like most phones nowadays, you don't even need that much. Generally, most people always say buy more to be safe, but I've watched how I use my phone. I have 256. I only use like 25 gigabytes. And that wasn't my choice. That's just what they had available.
I've had my Google Pixel 2 XL was a 64 gig storage, and I didn't even fill it up because it had the free storage come with the phone, the Google storage.
Oh yeah.
But, I think 128 is kind of the new standard for storage on phones.
Yeah.
Unless it's a Google phone, because it comes with the free storage. Any other phone should be coming with 128.
Yeah, Apple kind of like is a dick on that part. I'll give them that, because they know people are not going to take 64, but yet they're willing to make them pay the extra for the 256. That's not worth it. But thankfully with the 10R, $799, you get the 128. But again, that's another story.
I'm excited for the Note 10. I'm kind of excited for the Google Pixel, Pixel 4. I'm not really excited about the iPhones because I think they're going to look just like last year's.
They are. There's no change. I can tell you from all the leaks I've been looking at, no change at all. The only big difference they're going to add is the reverse wireless charging, and that's about it. This is
That's not even a good feature. That's
exactly.
Really
it's more of the yawn edition. See, this is why I tell people do not upgrade your phone every year. Just wait 2 to 3, even 4 if you can stretch it out. Because by then, by the 3rd year, you'll have more features to upgrade to.
You know what I would be buying right now if I was an iPhone user? I'd be buying an iPhone 10. I would be buying an iPhone 10 because it's still getting updated. and it has every feature that the newest iPhones have. And I would probably be spending what, about $500?
Probably around that. That's actually
Okay.
a good buy too. Well, you know what it is though with the 10 is that it was the experimental phone. It wasn't even ready. Like when they released the iPhone 10, it was a concept, and it failed to execute when it first came out. But if you look at it how it is now, I would say it stacks up with the 10s because they were able to make iOS 12 integrate better with the swiping gesture and stuff. So I mean, if you really were to buy the 10, you wouldn't be wrong for buying it.
Kyle Dawson with the super chat. Thanks for the donation. He says Apple's best device is the HDD iPod. So useful.
Yep.
Oh wow, Pete's in agreement there.
Yeah, I agree. I was screaming. I was saying before. Thank you, Kyle.
You can do data recovery on those.
Hell yeah, bro. You know what is a funny thing I was just thinking of? Whatever happened to Apple's there was a product that Apple released, but it barely did any good, and then they recalled it within like 6 months. Forgot what it was.
The Pippin?
Something like that. I'm trying to remember. Oh, they're in-ear headphone. So when Apple was doing headphones, this was a Steve Jobs era. Like if it's okay with you guys, I want to transition to headphones if possible. If it's okay with you guys.
Yeah, sure.
So when it comes to audio, I will give it credit. Apple does a pretty good job at audio. But there was a point when people wanted a very good pair of headphones, and their ear pods were just garbage back then. So they came out with an in-ear version that had a tweeter and a woofer the size of a pea inside of this. But the problem was it was just too damn expensive, and Steve Jobs couldn't sell it. So it did really bad. And since then, the Apple Store just stopped carrying them within 6 months. However, recently they're saying that there's been like a stock load found in like an overhaul in one of their like facilities, and now they're going for like $15. And my only thing is like, why not just price the damn thing to what earpods are? They're clearly not worth $80.
Wait, they had extra stock in a facility? I thought Tim Cook was better than that.
Yeah, apparently Tim Apple ain't got no guts and glory.
Well, if they didn't have extra stock, then how are they still producing iPhone 10s? When they said when they started making them, this is a limited edition phone.
Then no, they don't.
They don't stockpile. They don't stockpile.
You're
produce.
right. You just reminded me. See, that's what I'm telling you about. You really can't believe anybody in these scenarios because, again, they know they have. Well, that's a tricky one. I gotta say.
Yeah, it is a tricky one because when they released the iPhone 10, they said this is a limited edition phone. We're not making more of these after this year. Fast forward 1 year later, they're still making it, and it sells better than all the other phones.
You're right.
Until the 10R came out.
The only thing though with the 10R is the reason that it's doing well is because of two things: color and price.
Color. Those colors are weird.
But more people are buying them. Have you seen the pie chart? 46% of users are on blue.
Oh wow.
22 are on coral. Couple are on red. White and black are non-existent for that.
Hey,
they're in one pie chart.
That's the only ones I would get, either the white or the black.
I thought Apple didn't use your personal data.
How do they use? No, that's just a sale pie. That's not even Apple.
No, that is personal data. It's like,
don't they have to tell people, or do you think they're just polling the people as they're walking by them?
Probably. This was from Mac Rumor.
I don't know.
This was from Mac Rumor. That's another thing. There are certain websites you should really not trust. Forbes? Nope.
I block them.
What happened?
I block Forbes on my feeds.
Thank you.
I also do Wall Street Journal because they want me to pay $120 a year or something.
Yeah, and they want it up front, or they're locking you out. They don't let you read anything.
They let you read like 5 lines, and they say, if you want to continue, buy a year-long subscription.
Yeah. You know what's weird is like when you're reading an article, like do you ever find that, like you said, you have to buy it? You're just getting into it. You're like, damn, it's going to be awesome. Then you scroll down. Oh, you got to pay to read more. I'm like, come on, man. I was just getting into it, and I don't read as much. It's like, that's like that one moment, like that one little moment. But even then, though, Apple already got their new subscription, so.
What I'm doing right now is I'm thinking about like the devices that are going to be released the rest of the year.
Mhm.
And the only one that is probably going to like be a legitimate like game changer is probably the Note 10. Just the Note line in general always does.
Yeah, it's gonna be an
Everything-
Android phone.
Everything else, like even maybe the Pixel might be innovative. I don't know. I don't really see the Pixel phones as innovative. I just feel like their cameras are always really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
Their sensors are good, but it's their software that's amazing.
Yeah.
Actually, I was reading something today, and I think this news is from like the last 48 hours. A Vivo phone, I don't know the name of the model or whatever.
Vivo
There's-
Nex X.
It's charging in 15 minutes from 0% to 100%,
Yeah,
and it's
read
a
that.
4,000 milliamp hour battery.
Flash charge. That's the newest thing I read about it. That is impressive, but you know something though? That's actually not good for your battery.
Well, you
Everyone-
don't know that. You don't know that, and here's why I say that.
Let me hear it.
It's only bad for your battery if the battery's taking a grunt of the heat. If the charging cable, or excuse me, if the charging brick is taking the heat, then the phone's going to be fine. So what I would want to know is whoever gets their hands on this, whoever does a test bed of it, does the phone get hot when it's charging, or is the charger getting hot? Because dash charging, like we see with the OnePlus, the phone doesn't get hot, the charger does. So when people are all worried and up in arms about, oh, there's a lot of heat when it charges that fast. Well, is the charging brick taking the heat or is the phone taking the heat? Pete, you replace batteries. What is the number one enemy of batteries?
Thermodynamics.
Yep.
Heat. Thanks for making it all scientific, Pete.
Well,
Thermodynamics.
no. Like,
Oh,
heat
because
is
it could
like
get cold too. Yeah, because it could get.
heat is an undersimplification. If the heat on the cells expands too much in either vector
Mm-hmm.
too quickly, you can have erosion of the material that stores the energy or the wires that transfer the energy.
Mm-hmm.
So essentially, too hot or too cold is bad for batteries.
And this is a reason why iPhone batteries degrade faster than an Android phone. Oh, snap. I hear some static. What's going on here?
We good?
I just heard something weird.
Where's that coming from?
I don't know. I don't know. Is it Pete? Is it you?
I don't know.
I heard.
I'm not even sure what mic I'm using.
Nah, it probably was just a glitch.
So I have this webcam mic,
Mm-hmm.
this mic,
Mm-hmm.
this mic, this mic.
I have I've got the Blue Yeti, I think is what this one is called.
Nice. And I got the iPad Pro mic.
Yeah. How is that iPad Pro, Mike?
I've been using it, and I gotta say, I use it more than my Mac. It does a good job. I'm more psyched for iPad OS because I've seen a lot of things that it brings to the table. But there is one thing I do miss when it comes to the Mac, and that's Final Cut Pro. Like Apple.
Is that what you do all your edits on?
I use Final Cut Pro. Like Apple really needs to make an not even an iPad OS version now of Final Cut Pro. If they could bring that to the iPad, I think the iPad will probably be a solid replacement for most users.
I really like the idea of the iPad OS.
Well, you know what it is with the iPad OS that it does? It's that it's trying to distinguish itself from iOS. While it still has iOS in the name, it's kind of separate.
They're gonna change it to PadOS, PodOS, and PhoneOS because they have no creativity in naming.
What were they gonna call it? IPOS?
Well, I mean, as long as it works well, like I don't even use my iPad. If it had its own operating system that would take advantage of the processing power, the screen real estate, and it could legitimately separate itself from iOS, I would probably use it more.
I will say though, the iPad Pro is got the power. The A12X is a monster. 8-core CPU. It's got seven. I'm sorry. It's got four. I think it's got 5 high end and 3 something around that formula. It's like 4 to 4 almost. I forgot the breakdown pi, but the A12X is packing beast power. And I did a bench score test, and it didn't go down.
A single core is 5,000. Multi-core is 20,000.
I mean, you're talking benchmarks. Doesn't matter to me as long as it can carry the weight of its processes.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's built for that kind of multitasking and handling iPad OS.
How does it do at producing code, though?
When producing, nah. I think that's where the iPad OS is going to make the big change, because when it was highlighted in WWDC with the more coding programmers, they kind of stressed, from what I saw, they were trying to stress that this thing can now handle inputting and creating apps and things like that on an iPad.
Because if it can do that, if it can create apps and whatnot, then it is a laptop replacement, like they were advertising. But until it can produce, it cannot replace a desktop.
Well, I'm on beta right now on iPad OS, so if you want me to try it out, I can let you know.
Yeah, try and run some Xcode on there.
All right, I'll give it a shot after this.
Actually, guys, I have some breaking news from the merger.
Woo! Stop the presses.
All right, so some breaking news, and I think I'm actually going to go ahead and do a video on this at some point this weekend. So October 7th is the court date for the origin. Should we just say the origination of the trials? Wait, hold on a second. I'm getting static.
Yeah, you hear that?
All right, we're good. Okay, so it's estimated to last 2 to 3 weeks. The judge is Victor Marrero, and he did acknowledge that the DOJ greatly impacts this case. So I think he's kind of admitting that the final say rests with the DOJ. At the pretrial, whatever was being said, they said their little thing there. FCC Chairman Ajit Pai was quoted as saying the Attorney General's argument and lawsuit is misguided.
Yep.
So the fact that
Verizon lawyer.
So the fact that the FCC chair has come out and basically kind of disregarded the Attorney General's case, and the fact that the court proceedings, the judge Marrero, who's overseeing this, has said that the DOJ's saying this greatly impacts the case, I think it's pretty evident that this is not going to hold up in court.
Yeah.
And the ball is in the. Yeah, I think they're just doing it just to do it. I don't think it's going anywhere.
You know something? Since you just read that, I think it's safe to say what I briefed you on earlier. It's safe because now that story, because it lines up what I told you. So it's safe to let them know.
Yeah. So for the most part, I think it's all a technicality. The antitrust chief, Macon Delrahim, wants a deal. He wants it on his terms. He prefers Dish. If Dish bows out of this, it's on T-Mobile to find another bidder for Boost and to build the fourth carrier. Dish is kind of lollygagging also because they've got options and they've got until 2020. So
isn't there a story about Verizon being interested in them for their mid-band?
They want the low band and the mid band. So the low band. Why am I getting static? Hold on.
Yeah, did you hear that, Pete?
No.
I don't know. Nah, but that's good news to hear. What I was saying, Pete, was that I told him I had friends that work for the New York Times that have been covering it, and what I told him was,
you're the guy with the New York Times friends.
That's me. So I've been, yeah, that's good. So I've been informing him of what they're saying before this came out.
Thanks for the bones, Martin.
Oh yeah, thanks for the super chat, Martin.
So New York Times friends.
Yeah. That's me. I'm the one that's been telling him what they are telling me.
Now, I haven't disclosed anything other than what I've been able to corroborate, which means if I get it from multiple sources and I can confirm the legitimacy of it, I report it. If it's from one place and it's questionable or there's holes or connections I still need to make, I usually hold off. So if you guys need to if you're thinking to yourself, should I trust Sneed Mobile Tech? Just know that I don't report anything until I get it from multiple places and it's trustworthy.
Mhm.
So I get something from Michael, or I get something from Pete, or I get something from Reuters, or I get something from Fox, or if I get something from CNN. I have to be able to confirm it from multiple places, or else I have to consider it speculation. And if it is speculation, I call it that. But
Reuters has been doing a lot of stories on this too.
that's one of my fallbacks, because I trust them, because their stories line up with what's happening. And like, take for example this report from the FCC chair, him saying the Attorney General's argument is misguided. That's perfectly believable.
Could you say that title again?
The FCC chair says Attorney General's argument and lawsuit is misguided.
They're attorneys general.
Attorneys General, yes.
Not the general is not the plural. The attorney is.
Attorneys General.
Yes.
And I don't know what's going on with my audio right now, so I'm trying to work through it here.
It's okay. Don't worry about it, brother. You got it.
I'm also pedantic.
Oh, I'm trying to see something. I'm trying to find it. No, because what happened was when I was telling him this, I didn't want to risk, my friends, their jobs. So that's why I kept it classified between us, and I confide in him. But now that the story's out, I'm going to say it's safe to assume that they're probably going to release it later.
I think Sneed's been throwing a couple stories at me to see if I could vet.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the thing about like all these stories, and I've tried to tell people time and time again, it's really important that you guys can't get too high and you can't get too low, because as these reports are coming out, it's hour to hour. It's every couple of hours. There's something that comes out and somebody says something, and sometimes their opinions, and sometimes people just give you like what they think. Like, if you follow Peter Adderton on Twitter, like it's an interesting perspective, but Peter Adderton's coming from the point like he's pro-merger. So he's not going to give you a negative twist, but he always says there's always a chance that the deal could fail, and there's always and nothing's a lock, So I think it's a reminder that no matter what I report, until there is an actual statement from the Department of Justice antitrust chief, we're just going off of reports from different media outlets and different quotes from people that are supposed to be in the know.
I was told something interesting about like operations between agencies like DOJ and Homeland Security and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
A Homeland Security lawyer cannot get access to anyone in the DOJ.
I agree with that.
This came from me asking a Homeland Security lawyer.
I'm gonna try to figure out my
I was
audio
a
here,
little
guys.
disappointed.
Hey. Oh God. No, I'm sorry guys. I just got breaking news too. So my friend just got kicked out of a movie theater because the idiot spilled popcorn on a 4-year-old. How intelligent do you have to be to do that?
Is he a university student?
Yep, 3rd year.
He's still basically used to generate statistics.
Like a 4-year-old. Like, come on, man. I don't know. I don't know where I find these friends. I really gotta start finding new friends.
I found most of my friends in computer labs.
I see.
How's my audio, guys? Can I get a audio?
So far,
It's
sounds
fuller.
fine.
Is it good?
Yeah, it sounds pretty good.
You got some bass there.
Ooh, we going low end in there now.
I've got some bass, you said?
We're going low.
Low.
Just is the static gone? Is all that buzzing going? Is that gone?
I don't hear any static at the moment, so we'll have to wait and see.
So,
All right.
Sneed, I blame your ISP for all this static.
Dude, I don't know what's going on tonight. I had no issues the last time I live streamed.
What's so funny?
Oh,
I'm not throwing my voice. There we go.
nah. The guy was saying he thinks it's coming from me.
If it's coming from me, the only thing I can say is that's the internal microphone of the iPad. So
No, I don't think. I think it's me. I hear it.
Yep.
I mean, I don't.
It's your ISP, I'm telling you.
What the heck is going on, man?
Who are you using?
I have no choice. Cox is the only one out here.
Ah!
do you want to try?
Well, I must say one thing. They certainly got the name right.
I don't know what to do at this point, man. Hold on.
Yo, I was just gonna. Yo, I just found out. So
Are you like a cable modem setup?
let's see.
Because if it's your cable modem and I'm dropping a computer off there, when I get out there, I can make sure you're set up correctly for it.
Basically, try to mute your mic. He says try to mute your mic.
No, this is his internet upload.
Ah, I see.
What were you saying, Pete?
It's your internet upload.
Ooh,
My upload?
Yes.
there it comes.
What do you mean?
So your uplink is when you static out a little, it's also distorting your video.
Hold on a second. So let me see if there's something in the settings, Pete. Maybe you could help me out. So the mic. Wait a minute. Let's.
What operating system are we talking about?
Awkwardly quiet.
So, yeah, I have a feeling that the guy who installed it put the wrong type of amplitude for the splitter. And he's currently muted.
He's muted. I thought, oh man, I feel so bad for him.
I don't think he's downloading explicit videos.
Oh man.
I mean, I'm not saying I'm downloading Disney movies, but I might
Sound
be
check.
downloading.
All right, am I good?
So far, so
You
good.
said Disney movies. I think I just heard it all tonight.
Yeah, I'm not downloading Disney movies, but if I was, I'm doing it now.
Yo, speaking of Disney movies, everybody I know that's like 25 and older is going to see Toy Story 4.
Dude, I was just at the new Aladdin movie last week with the fam.
Oh, that was a good movie. That was good. Can we be real here? You're never too old to go see something you grew up with.
Exactly.
Yeah, it was kind of nice. So my daughter's name is Yasmin, which is Jasmine in Arabic.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yep.
we got all the toys and stuff like that. And we took her to go see it. And me and my wife are of the generation of Aladdin and the original Lion King and all that. You know, we were kids. So now we're seeing all of this stuff coming back in the theater for these remakes.
Sneed, is your neighbor downloading Disney movies?
Oh, man.
Why the hell should that matter?
I don't know, but you're staticking out.
And it's coming in and
Right
out.
now, I'm staticking.
Yeah, and your quality's dropping and freezing.
Oh,
I feel like
You gotta call Cox.
I think this is like a sign that we have to run it instead of Sneed. I think Sneed's got to sit this one out. It looks like me and you are going to run the show now, Pete.
They're saying poured in the chat, Sneed, and I think it's all because of your ISP.
Naughty children, naughty children. We got children in the chat.
Raphael, do you think you should warn people for using that language?
Think of the children.
I'm gonna speed test it right now. I'm gonna see what I'm getting.
You're getting like 3 megs up. Whip out the T-Mobile hotspot. You'd be flying.
Pete went out. Where'd everybody go? Oh, okay, there you go. All right.
Whip out the T-Mobile hotspot. You'll win.
P, I'm getting 30 on the upload.
What are you broadcasting from?
Oh man.
My router?
No. Like, are you on a computer right now?
What, the speed test?
Yeah.
Frankie,
Let me
this
go to-
movie is not for us. It's for a new generation. Just get over it and enjoy the originals.
Also, what operating system you're running?
It's Chrome.
Yeah, you shouldn't be lagging out like that.
Yeah, Chrome is really good. Hey, yo, if this keeps happening, Sneed, we got to do some major overhaul on your side.
Bro, I don't know what to do at this point. I had a problem
You
one
You
time,
whip out
like
your cell phone. Make sure Verizon lets you make a call, right? Call Cox and be like, I want to speak to a supervisor. My boy Pete's going to speak to a supervisor.
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 oh, you know what? It says 1 megabit per second on the download.
Ooh.
But I'm not using download. I upload it's saying
No,
20
you're
megabits per second.
downloading. You're downloading.
Is somebody looking up in your house Disney movies?
No, you're downloading when you see our video on the screen.
He didn't have this problem before. It probably started this problem when I came in. We can all
Nope.
blame me.
You had this issue
No.
with that guy who didn't talk about AT&T,
Oh,
Tom.
that guy? Yo,
Yeah.
I was going to say this earlier. He was actually really good. But the thing
He
is,
was.
I have my own VPN. The thing is, I created my own. I did networking at school. Basically, I got one that supports WWDPT, I think, something around there. I haven't used it in a while, though. But it took me 7 years to master it. 7 years.
Hey, Sneed, this guy, Sebastian in the chat saying, you got a neighbor pirating your internet for Disney movies?
I
feel
don't
like
think so,
everybody
man.
gets pirated. Yo, I went to see that new Child's Play movie. I feel like we went from tech to murder to just really just talk about everything.
So, about that merger.
Yeah,
We
interesting
need
news
that
about
merger to go through so Sneed has an option for ISPs.
that. And on the side,
Yeah,
also
yeah.
My
that
brother
Star
yells
Trek-
amen. He heard me from the other room.
Star Trek Wars, everything Disney. You're right, Frankie. You're right. Something is streaming voice in Sneed's hour. It looks like it might be working. They're saying it's better. So let's see if it works now.
All right, we're trying.
Yeah, but I was gonna say, one thing I was gonna tell you about the merger is I was wondering if they had to give up Virgin. I mean, I say they give it up in a heartbeat because they're not giving up Metro. But do you guys think they would give up Virgin in a heartbeat?
Yeah.
All right, so we agree on that. Like, there's no debating it.
How many people use Virgin? I don't remember your recent video on it, Sneed, but I think you said it was less than 10 million.
I don't think Virgin has much. The last I checked, Metro had about 20 million. Boost had about 7 to 8 million. I don't even remember having solid numbers from Virgin. I don't even know if they report it, honestly.
3.
Huh?
Was it less than 3?
Probably.
There we go again with the tinniness.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yo, man, Sneed, looks like this
Cox
thing's
is breaking your balls, man.
breaking your balls. Hey. Profanity. But nah, man, yo, Sneed, if this ain't working out for you on the other side, maybe we should just wrap it up for the night. Maybe work on it for the next one, maybe.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to figure this out, man.
I already got people laughing over my Cox jokes.
Yeah, that sucks. I don't understand, man. I can't.
AK Video Stream says, make the internet great again. Let T-Mobile buy Cox.
All right, I think we'll leave it at that. I'm gonna go ahead and just do some final thank yous. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna thank Pete for coming on. Thanks for being here, man. I want to thank Michael for coming on. Thank you for being a guest here on the podcast.
Thank you, man.
I want to give a big shout out to Tom Spark for taking some time to break down all of the VPN information and kind of explaining some important things on internet security.
What is this Tom talking about with T-Vision being bought out by Spectrum?
No way in hell.
I'd go to YouTube TV if they did that.
Me too. I'll join you there.
I want to thank all my moderators. I want to thank Raphael, as always, coming through with the wrench. I also want to thank Jamil. I want to thank all those who contributed with super chat donations. Thank you guys for the generosity and the donations there. I want to give a big shout out to the Discord server. If you guys haven't checked it out yet, there's a link in the description for that. And also, I want to give a big shout out to all the patrons out there for all that are contributing to production here on the Sneed Mobile Tech YouTube channel. So I think what I'll do now is just kind of wrap things up and then let you guys know I'll have a couple videos coming out this weekend. One which will be out tomorrow and one that will be out Sunday. One of them is kind of like a prepaid offering, just some promotions that are out there that you guys might want to consider. So look forward to that. And then also kind of wrap up what kind of was said and done today in terms of what we got from the pre-trial hearing and what we can expect to see kind of moving forward, I guess.
But this is all based on how bad Cox is.
Yeah, and I'm going to try to figure out this situation. I don't know what the hell is going on. Problem is I don't have any options, man. I really do not.
Tell them if they don't fix your internet, you'll use a T-Mobile LTE puck.
Damn.
All right, guys. Let's go ahead and sign off. Thank you to everybody for watching. Thank you to all subscribers. Thank you to all viewers. Thank you to all that liked the video, those in the live chat today for, kind of spending the hour or so with us. Thank you so much. I think we'll leave it at that. I am Sneed from Sneed Mobile Tech on behalf of Pete and Michael. We'll see you guys on the next video. Peace.
Peace.
Peace.